Welcome back to Pack Mentality. And today, Coach Aaron and I are going to be talking about what separates a good coach from a great coach. And real quick, before we dive into it, will you please do me a huge favor and share this podcast with a friend or leave us a review? The only way this grows is through word of mouth. And it leaves me all tingly inside when you guys share my podcast or leave me a review because it keeps me motivated to keep doing it. So appreciate you guys. And let's get right into it, shall we? So real quick, if you've been living underneath a rock or you haven't listened to this before, Coach Aaron has been with us for the last 2 years. He's been coaching over for 10 years, and he has a background in collegiate baseball, and he has a degree in kinesiology as well. And so we're going to chat a little bit about what made him want to coach instead of just only being someone who works out. And I think what most people think about coaching is just counting reps or being kind of a cheerleader, but I don't think they really realize how much goes into actually changing someone's life along with their movement patterns. So, Coach Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you, man.
It's good to be here, Matt.
Awesome. So, in your opinion, what does separate someone in the coaching field who's a good coach, and what separates them from being a great coach?
A lot of things go into that, Matt. I think good coaches are someone that can organize a class really well, can warm people up properly and get them ready for a workout right in the correct way. I think a great coach is somebody who is more detailed when it comes to those things. A great coach will explain the workout in a way that you understand the intention of the workout. They will break down movement patterns into easily digestible pieces for people, and ultimately improve people's movement, improve their ability to work out, and yeah, really like build a relationship with the person. I think that's kind of the beginning of what makes a great coach compared to a good coach.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I love what you said about, first off, explaining what the intent of the workout is. And I think that's where a lot of people get wrong, right? It's really easy to just go out there and be like, hey, here's the workout and here's the movements and here's how to do them properly. I mean, that's the standard. That should be baseline. And on top of that, I like what you said about building a relationship with the member or the client themselves, because ultimately people, they could start a fitness program, but the thing that ultimately keeps them going, and I've seen this time over time again, is the relationships you make either in a one-on-one setting or even a group setting, with the relationships that they make with their peers in the class itself.
Yeah, totally agreed. And that's such a huge part of CrossFit is the community and the people you work out with day in and day out. It becomes kind of like, I don't know, it's individual, but you kind of get that team environment a little bit.
Yeah. No, and I think you and I both coming from team sports in college, that's an environment that we thrive in. And we do see a lot of former athletes in here who do thrive in this kind of environment because we see this all the time with collegiate athletes. It's like or even high school athletes, like once they're done with their sport, it's like now. And they don't have a drive. They don't have someone holding them accountable. And that's really what we do here at Red Wolf is we do a good job cultivating an environment where it's unreasonable to not be successful. And also to the point where you look forward to showing up every day just because it's structured.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the athlete, right, without playing a sport, they don't have that structure, but they have the drive and the work ethic to do it. They just need something put in front of them to do, and they'll, like you said, they'll thrive in this type of environment as long as they have some structure.
Yeah, no, that's great. Coming back to coaching is, when it comes to newer coaches, would you say is like your top mistakes that you see newer coaches make?
I think newer coaches, first and foremost, I think it's like being timid a little bit. And this is kind of opposite stuff, but timid in the sense of like looking at the person, not just seeing them as like a body moving, right? And they like take the personality into account. So it kind of like maybe they don't want to tell them that they're making a certain error or this or that. And on the opposite spectrum, I think newer coaches, sometimes when they do cue, it's like too many things. Like they'll over explain stuff. That's kind of what I see with newer coaches. What either they're timid and won't, give corrections as they see and give cues when necessary, or they'll be on the opposite end and just explain too many things, like three cues at once type of thing.
Yeah, so you're saying like two different extremes, right? Yeah, and I've definitely fallen on all those. But like, and I love how you address both of those extremes because when I was a newer coach, I was timid because I'm like, I'm just new to this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But then once you kind of get comfortable, then you try and like flex on people and be like, oh, look how much I know. And you're like, and you overcoach them and then both have their pros and cons, right? And, we've talked about this before, it's walking that type of like, I'm giving enough to where I'm not overwhelming them, but they will improve, but also holding back enough to where, I'm not overwhelming them with so much information that they can't correct anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and to improve on those extremes, right? It's in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so usually like what I would try to do is you fix one thing at a time. So even if there's multiple errors, right, you just fix one thing at a time, what you think is the lowest hanging fruit, and then from there build it back up to what you think is a good movement pattern.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember, specifically, and they've said this even the early days since 2012 when I got my L2 all the way up to I renewed my L2 last year is where they talk about triage, right? So if someone goes to the hospital, what do you treat first, the gunshot wound or the paper cut?
Yeah,
Treat the
exactly.
gunshot wound right first. So same thing when we approach coaching is that we always look, what's the highest impact movement that we can fix or the highest impact thing that we can fix with this person? And that may end up helping them in several other areas with fixing just one thing first.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically the largest error will fix some other things that you saw as
Yeah,
well.
that's very true.
Yeah.
Now, as a coach, what would you say is more important, energy or knowledge?
Well, I think you got to have both of them,
Yeah.
right? To keep people engaged, to actually give them the value that you have. Um, energy is, and I feel like energy can kind of make up for lack of knowledge, right? Because you want to keep the energy high in the room, so people will work hard, and I think typically energy can get you by without a lot of the knowledge. But I think as you get more experience, you realize that both are really important and you kind of emphasize one over the other at certain parts in the workout,
Yeah.
And in one class, you may be more energetic at one point, and then at another point, you're giving more knowledge. But I think a healthy balance of both is super important, and emphasizing one over the other at key times in the class.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer. And just out of curiosity, if you had to pick one,
Yeah.
which one would it be?
Well, like, if I'm knowledge, right? Like, what do I just have no energy? Am I just like, hey,
Yeah.
we're doing this today?
Let's just do
This is stress. It's got to be energy then.
gotta be energy. I agree with you. Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. You have that both, especially in the area of fitness that we're in. If you don't have energy, then people are gonna be bored to death, and you have all this knowledge, but then you can't even communicate it well. And if you have only energy, then no one's gonna improve because yeah, I mean they'll be hyped up to work out, but they're not gonna get any better. So having both obviously is important. I would agree with you as well. The energy is really important because we had a weightlifting guy come in years ago, long time ago, very knowledgeable coach, high level Olympic weightlifting athletes, put on a Olympic weightlifting seminar for the gym, extremely science based, very he was very articulate as well, like knew his stuff, but incredibly boring. Like just like lecturing. It was like sitting in like imagining the most boring college lecture you've ever had. It was like that. Just like monotone. I mean, you knew you could tell he knew what he was talking about, but just like pointing at the board, talking about weightlifting. Like, dude, we got to route it. Like, I can't do this. Like, you got to hype me up a little bit because we're 15 minutes into this, and like I get it, but dude, like I'm dying right now. Like, so yeah, energy is extremely important. Let's move into some misconceptions about group fitness because I think that there are a lot of misconceptions out there. So, why do some people think CrossFit is only for elite athletes?
Why is that? Um, I feel like maybe because with CrossFit, you see a lot of what the elite CrossFitters do. And at the top level, like, yeah, they're super amazing and strong and can run fast and jump high. And they do look like really good athletes, you know? And I feel like this was more, I don't know, like 10 years ago where that was like a really big thing where CrossFit was this niche thing where everyone was super in shape and athletic. But I feel like as the years have gone by, it's a lot more welcoming to the average person. And yeah, ultimately, I think it's because of like just seeing games athletes and how incredible they are is why people have that misconception. But I mean, it really couldn't be further from the truth,
Yeah.
right? It's infinitely scalable to any level. So yeah, I think that's why is the just seeing the incredible people at the top and assuming that that's kind of like what everyone's shooting for. I think it happens a lot with women, right? Where they're like, I don't want to be jacked. I'm like, yo, it doesn't happen that fast. You're not
I,
gonna just step in.
I wish it did. Yeah, for real. I really had that problem. Wish I really had the problem getting jacked too fast. That'd be a great problem to have. I would love to have that problem. No, I completely agree with you. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Instagram culture because the algorithm is going to prioritize and put things in front of people,
Yeah,
which get views. And what gets views is people doing incredible things, like rightfully so. Like, you know, you're not going to see in the algorithm some 60-year-old doing air squats to a box. Like, that's not exciting to watch. But, watching some pro CrossFitter do, a backwards screen to support, they like what they're doing, that's going to get a lot of views. So, I
absolutely.
mean, there's always the pros and cons to it as well.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's a really good point about social media.
yeah,
Is that's all you see. Is 400-pound clean and jerks and
yeah,
people snatching 300
yeah.
and
And believe me, no one wants to watch my 135 picture. No one wants
it
to
looks
see
really good though.
that.
You know?
Debatable. So, uh, I also want to talk about scaling and modifications. Okay, we're not going to get into the details of modifying and scaling, but I think a lot of this happens more than what people think that happens in a typical CrossFit gym. But how much modification happens that members don't even realize, like when you're actually running through an entire class.
In a class.
Yeah,
Um, well, you're as a coach, you mean like what type of modifications you make for people like during a class and people don't necessarily realize it or
I'm talking more along the lines that I think a lot of people don't realize how many individual modifications we make
yeah.
and the scope of that. So maybe you could talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. And on some workouts it's a lot more than others with the variety. But yeah, I mean you'll have 10 people in class and if the ability level is a wide range, you'll have people doing similar movements but completely different in what you're seeing, right? But the patterns and the intensity at which they're doing it should be fairly similar. So, I mean, every day we're making changes every class. Like, there's always going to be modifications for people, um, and it's not just like from an injury limitation standpoint, like just the ability level as well. And then even sometimes you'll like start a workout and have a certain load or you're doing a certain movement pattern and just not quite completing it the way that it should or at the intensity or uh, like for the intention of the workout. And you'll have to change that, whether it's lowering weight or using a lower skill movement so that they can complete it at a higher capacity every day.
Yeah, no, I really like what you said right there about the capacity component and making it to where they're going to get the exact same stimulus as someone who is maybe a better athlete. I wouldn't say better athlete, but someone who's been doing it a lot longer or has a history of like strength training. Like for example, someone could get the exact same stimulus and the same feeling that they should be getting in a workout doing a 95-pound thruster instead of a 135.
Yeah.
They're going to get the exact same workout as someone who's been doing CrossFit for 20 years who can handle 135 easier. And then just looking at the 135, be like, well, I want to do that because that's what the workout says.
Yeah.
When really the better option for them is to go a little bit lighter and we'll feel it pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah. And then to take that even further, you can turn that into a dumbbell thruster, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it can be infinitely scaled to whatever the ability level of the person is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Very well said. let's go into a little more about back to the coaching aspect and coaching aspect as in problem solving. So can you give me examples of how you would change things like in a classroom setting or a class setting on the fly for someone?
Mhm. So, like, if, for instance, like today we did chin ups,
Yeah.
right? So, with the chin ups, you can actually create a lot of variety with like the height of the band, the thickness of the band,
Yeah.
obviously. So, on pull up days, right? I'll adjust people like 1 or 2 dots on the rig. So it just goes up maybe like 6 inches or down 6 inches. And so I'll do that with people as they fatigue and aren't able to complete the movement as well as I think it should be done. And then modify it to an intensity that they can complete it to where I feel like it's benefiting them and they're doing it to a good capacity.
Yeah. No, very well said. And I don't think people realize how many different moving parts and logistical things we have going on in our brains when we're coaching a training session. I mean, like if someone comes in, they didn't sleep very well, or if you have a new person who's nervous and embarrassed, or like someone over here is injured from doing something outside the gym. There we have people who are pregnant, we have people who are older, we have people who are younger, we have people who are training for a sport, we have people who are competitive in CrossFit, and we have people who aren't competitive, who don't care at all about being competitive in CrossFit. And, we have, everything else in between from advanced to beginner. And so at the end of the day, like we have solutions in place, regardless of what their fitness journey is and their fitness experience, to where we can all collectively share the exact same thing. And I think that's what makes CrossFit very special.
Yeah, I completely agree. Back to anybody can do it. And as long as the workout is scaled appropriately, everyone is going to be doing the workout at the same intensity and getting the same stimulus.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the hardest part, especially when you're working with someone new and they do need to scale or modify? What's the hardest part of working with someone like that?
Um, I wouldn't say that it's hard. You just have to know, I guess, like how to approach it. Um, I guess the first thing that jumps on my mind is like someone thinking they should be able to do more weight than they are.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that would come up with that is like, I don't know, an ego check or something.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like we know what's better for them. So as long as you approach it in a way where you're explaining it that it is more effective for them to do the scaled option, I think it's always fine. They know that you do have their best interests in mind. So yeah, I don't really see a huge problem with it, other than maybe like the making someone feel bad, but ultimately it's in their best interest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily making someone feel bad. I think it just has to come down to managing expectations. I think people come in and immediately, as human beings, we naturally start comparing ourselves to people who are better than us. It's ironic, we would never compare ourselves to people who are doing worse than us, which is funny. But then again, like what I always do is I always manage expectations by telling them, like, hey, like, cool, like whoever you're looking at, like that person over there has been doing CrossFit and they've been with us for the last 14 years since we opened. Of course, they're going to be better than you. You just joined 2 weeks ago. You're starting.
yeah,
It's okay.
yeah,
Get there eventually, but you just have to be patient.
absolutely. And that's like a great approach, managing the expectation of the person and explaining why it benefits them
Yeah.
to scale.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well done. I mean, so Coach Aaron handles all of our onboarding for all of our new members. He also does majority of all of our one-on-one coaching. So again, if you guys want to work with Aaron more one-on-one and you just want to have a meeting with him, go do an in-body scan, whatever, just contact him, talk to him at the gym. He'd be more than happy to help you.
Yes.
Let's pull back the curtain a little bit more. So how much planning actually goes in to just one class? Like you see the attendance, you see who's coming in, you see our plan, our lesson plan and everything. I mean, well now it's probably you probably don't have to do it nearly as much because you're here every day and so you know these people really well. But like talk about maybe those early days. Did you like well walk us kind of through the prep and how that's kind of evolved since you started training with us?
Okay. Yeah, like you said, like as you see people every day and get to know them, their limitations and like kind of how they push in a workout and what they struggle with and things like that. But at the beginning, um, as I was getting to know people, like, yeah, I would look at the class roster and anything I remembered about certain people, like, I would just know that I'll need to gravitate towards whatever scaling is going to be necessary for them. And I kind of like put people in buckets, if you will, like just of like RX, Fitness Plus, Fitness, just so my mind's already thinking about how to approach each person, right? Uh, but yeah, as you develop, you get to know the person, you just kind of know. So not as much preparation, but that's one part of it. And then the second part of it is like we have the warm ups and things for the class. So just knowing what each part of it's for and explaining that to people like during the warm up. Um, yeah. So I guess to give a time, it started off like, you know, you really wanted to be prepared. Like I would even do like my own class outline too, just so I'm like extra prepared. Or I would like go through and review cues and different drills that I'd want to implement for that day's class, and I still do that here and there, but yeah, the preparation's so much shorter now. I'm just like, I know exactly what people struggle with and what kind of scaling they'll need to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot less now for sure.
No, yeah, I believe you. And yeah, and if you're listening to this, that shows just how important it is to have a lot of frequency, meaning that you just come in a lot because the more you come in, the more we get to know you, the more we can see what needs to be worked on, what doesn't need to be worked on, and allows us to funnel you into a better position to where we can maximize your time with us so you get even more out of that hour. We do find the people who obviously attend the most get the most out of it. The ones who ask the questions, they always get the most out of it because they're being proactive in their fitness. I think that's really an underrated skill when it comes to someone who's trying to improve their fitness.
Yeah, and then a good point about the asking questions, right? Like I love that when people ask specific questions about movements or how to do the workout. Like I think all of us here at Red Wolf are an open book and want everybody to succeed as quickly and as well as they can. So the people that ask always are gonna get a little bit more benefit from it just because it just shows that they value what's going on and they value their own journey when it comes to fitness because they want to improve. And like, yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Is the people that are proactive about asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely schedule a time if you guys can. If you can't schedule a time, don't worry. Just come in and talk to Aaron. He'd be more than happy to help you and fix anything that needs to be fixed. He has a lot of experience in pretty much everything. And thank God he has a degree in kinesiology, which means he has education outside of just the CrossFit realm. He knows traditional strength and conditioning principles, which is extremely valuable because I'm a firm believer, and we're believers here at the Red Wolf, is that we don't get dogmatic or we're not purists at any one thing. Like I know we're a CrossFit gym, but I will take any aspect of fitness that will improve someone's health and wellness and get them stronger or fitter and implement that regardless of where you get it from.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's the best way to move forward is have an open mind and exactly like you said, don't get dogmatic about things. And,
Yeah.
you'll never know what you'll find.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
can
I
be
like
helpful.
drinking the Kool-Aid, but not that much. Let's talk about why results plateau. So now that you have more experience, you're training with us and you've seen a lot of people and you've worked with a lot of people, both one-on-one and in the group setting. Why do people stop progressing? Just in general.
In general.
In general, just like
In general. I feel like if you're not progressing, you're not training enough, one, obviously, or your habits outside of the gym really, I mean, are opposite of what you're wanting to do or what you're wanting to accomplish.
Mhm.
So there's something that you're completely missing, like, because progress should happen if you are doing the right thing at the right time and for the right period, right? You're gonna see progress. So something's just like something's obvious, and you're not making a change somewhere that needs to be changed
Yeah, no, 100%. Uh, what's the biggest mistake that you do see people make outside of the gym?
outside the gym.
Yeah. If you get to choose one mistake,
Okay, one mistake. Okay,
just one. What's the biggest one?
because like three things pop in my head, but the biggest thing I think that I've noticed recently. Okay, well, all right, I got it. I used to drink quite a bit, but I think drinking is a huge thing that will limit your progress. Um, I think that's got to be number one. I was weighing two things. One is like eating enough protein or alcohol. I think
Yeah.
is two really big things that you don't notice how much it will improve your gym stuff until you actually limit it and commit to actually not like drinking or actually eating enough protein for the right amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, those would have to be the biggest things that I
Yeah.
see.
That you see personally. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that, I mean, it's kind of embedded American culture is to drink and to drink quite heavily at times. Like, I mean, I think I made a comment once. So I was like, I'm like, someone was telling me that they were trying to stop drinking, and I was like, hey, no worries. Like, and I'm like, hey, you don't have to go full turkey. I'm like, just reduce it. I'm like, could you cut half? And they go, huh? They were like baffled that I would even suggest that. I'm like, well, you're trying to eliminate it, but now they're like half.
So
Yeah,
like
half.
that.
No, but you know what their response was? They're like, well, that means like I can only have like 5 beers on the weekends. I'm like, you having 5 beers on Saturday? It's like, oh, oh. I mean, not to be judgmental, but I'm judging you.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna drink five, you're gonna drink more.
Yeah, this is what once you start stopping, it's like you might as well just keep going at that point. Yeah, you might as well just finish the whole pack. Anyway,
But it's just people are really emotionally tied to it. It's a hard thing to let go of, but honestly, like if you give yourself a few weeks, you start to see the benefits of it
yeah,
100%.
awesome. So we have a few minutes left. Let's do some rapid fire questions. Let's get right into it. So, what do you feel is the most overrated fitness trend right now?
Biohacking.
Biohacking. I like that one.
Yeah, like red light, cold plunge type of biohacking.
Okay.
I think if people just ate enough protein, slept better than they do, or just slept well, or care
Yeah.
about their sleep at
Yeah.
all, I think you can make much more progress just focusing on those things rather than adding in, cold or ice bath, sauna, that type of stuff. And I mean, that stuff's probably great and or is great and does have benefit, but I think you could find so much more benefit from just the fundamentals of fitness.
Yeah. Everybody wants to skip steps and go to something detailed and fancy, right? And then yeah, it's just I don't know. The human brain is weird. What is the most underrated yes. What is the most underrated exercise?
The most underrated exercise. Um, Underrated exercise in CrossFit. Oh my God. Um, Underrated, Matt. There's so many movements,
I
right?
know.
So many
Yeah,
movements.
one. Just
I
pick
had
one
to
that's
pick
recent.
one.
A
Okay.
recent one that you've been like a
Underrated.
lot, just so we know.
Underrated.
For sure you're not
Okay, well, I'll just gravitate towards this. Sandbag squats,
okay. Bear hug.
bear hugs.
Bear hug and back squat. There you go. From Aaron first.
I think more people should do those for sure. Um, just because it makes your squat pattern, just the nature of the movement makes your squat pattern better, like biomechanically more appropriate, we'll say.
Awesome. No, yeah. And if you want to learn more about sandbag stuff, Aaron is very knowledgeable in all like the traditional strongman stuff, sandbag work, and he's really good with accessory work. So again, don't be afraid to talk to him about it. He can definitely give you some pointers. If you had to tell every member a message right now at the gym, one thing that they all should start doing starting tomorrow, what would that be?
Everybody should do starting tomorrow. Everybody should eat their body weight in grams of protein.
Yeah, I
Every
say
single day.
how many times we have to say that, but we still have to keep repeating ourselves,
That's
don't
a
we?
basic one, but I am shocked all the time at how little amount of people do that.
Wow. Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
Anytime people show me their food or they tell me what they eat, I'm just like, every time the answer is protein. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, and then the most common response is that's a lot of protein. Like it's really not. Like you just have to wrap your head around what a certain amount equals like visually. And I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard. Now, if like protein powders and whatnot, like it's so easy to eat your your weight in protein.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say now it's a lot easier now than when I first started fitness. Like
mm,
when I first started, like the only option of flavor of protein shake was vanilla and it tasted like crap.
yeah,
And there
it's
wasn't
actually
like,
good now.
yeah, there wasn't like a high protein yogurt out there. Now we have the Oikos Pros, which are like 20 grams of
Yeah,
protein in
it's
this little cup
what,
and they're delicious.
less chips,
Yeah, Quest,
20
like,
grams of protein for a
appreciate
chip.
now, guys. Like there's protein in everything.
Yeah.
Like no more excuses.
And it
Uh,
maybe it might not be the best thing to eat the processed stuff to get your protein, but just get your protein in. Like worry about
yeah,
all the other stuff after you've gotten that number
right.
to pounds of body weight, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, man. Closing question.
Gotcha.
If someone listened to this and was still nervous about walking into Red Bull for the first time, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that the the version of them that has accomplished that goal that they have, right, went through hard things on the way to getting there. And at some point, you just have to make the decision that you're going to be that future version of yourself that's accomplished the goals. And you do the actions required to get there. Like, you, we can explain how scaling and all this will make it more comfortable for you and that there's a path for you to get to where you want to go. But ultimately, it's just making that decision to be the person that has accomplished the things that you want.
Yes.
You know, you just have to get in, you have to change your mindset,
Yeah.
you know?
No, very well said, Aaron. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And everyone, do me a favor. Please share this with a friend or leave us a review if you it would help us out a ton. We really appreciate that. And don't forget that the workout really does matter. And I know that workout matters a lot to you. But at the end of the day, the coaching determines whether the workout gets you the results. Because everyone's going to hit a plateau. Everyone's going to do a snag every once in a while along their journey. And I still have those problems to this day. And that's why I'm glad I have other coaches around me who could give me pointers in the right direction. And it's really great because everyone at on our entire team is good at something. That's completely has another discipline. Like Torin has a great lifting background in Olympic and powerlifting. Aaron has a great strongman background and a traditional knowledge and strength and conditioning with his kinesiology degree. I have a background in old school competitive CrossFit because that's how I started. Caitlin has a D1. Caitlin played D1 volleyball and has a great background just in overall mindset, nutrition, and just general fitness in general. I said fitness in general. Anyway, but two gyms can put the exact same workout on a whiteboard, but the coaching is what turns into a life-changing experience. So good luck, have fun, and nailed it.
Beautiful.